Does the sight and smell of cheesy, meaty lasagna make your mouth water? But like me, do you avoid it because of the pasta and gluten overload? Well, I'm excited to show you how to make my healthy, meaty, cheesy lasagna that is nutrient dense, plant-based, and with all the yummy classic flavor of the original. It's full of veggies including zucchini, spinach, mushrooms, and tomatoes, and they're camouflaged between creamy layers of ricotta, Parmesan, and mozzarella cheese. And of course, it has a delicious, vibrant marinara sauce with ground turkey and fresh garlic. And yes, you can enjoy this classic Italian dish guilt-free and with a healthy amount of calories. We're going to begin with our zucchini, and you can use either green or yellow. And it really helps to have a mandolin slicer so that you can cut those zucchini nice and thin to replicate the lasagna noodles. So we're going to start by just trimming off the ends of 3 zucchini. And depending on how thin you slice these, you may or may not need all of the 3. This is my favorite mandolin slicer because it's stainless steel, and then it has this adjustable wheel which adjusts the thickness of your slice. Let's see, so I'm going to set our thickness here. It says about 3 millimeters or about 1/8 of an inch. And then we'll just lower this little bar underneath, and then we'll set it up right in front of us like so. And then make sure you use the very fashionable yet finger protecting glove. And then we're simply going to take our zucchinis and get a firm hold on our mandolin and then just slide them down. And the first slice is usually the trickiest, but then they go nice and quick and easy. This is definitely #satisfying. And now we have these perfectly thinly sliced zucchini. Now, as you know, zucchini are made up of mostly water, so you can see that that moisture is already coming out of these zucchinis. Now, one of the downsides to having so much moisture in the zucchini is that your lasagna can come out with a lot of water in the end. There are several methods for trying to extract some of the water with salt and kind of pre-baking your zucchini to dry them out, or you can just bake them as is and then excrete some of the liquid at the end. So I'm going to do kind of a hybrid of both that I think is the best time saver. So I'm just going to lay out a clean towel and then lay out my zucchini slices. And then I'll take a second clean towel and just lay it on top. And then I can just fold these in half. And then we're just gonna roll it up like a sleeping bag. Once that's rolled up, we're gonna go ahead and put a little weight into it and help squeeze out some of the liquid. And then we'll just set these aside. Now this lasagna will come together very quickly once we have all of our ingredients prepped. So with our mushrooms, you're gonna wanna start with about 2 cups of mushrooms, and then you'll want to chop them nice and fine to help camouflage them in the lasagna. One of my favorite ways to quickly chop mushrooms is to use my little egg slicer. I can just drop the mushroom inside, press down, cutting once, then turn it 90 degrees, press down again, and then I have these real nice little uniform slices of mushrooms. And it's also kind of fun. Now, I love the flavor of onions, but if a dish has too many white or yellow onions, it can be a little upsetting for my digestion. So a way I have found to get delicious onion flavor, but in a more subtle way, is to use a green onion. So I'm just going to take the bottom 2/3 of this green onion, and we'll just kind of give it a slice down the middle. And then I'm just going to finely chop it. But you could absolutely use a white or yellow onion and just use about 1/4 of a cup. Now definitely fresh is best, especially when it comes to herbs. We'll go ahead and just finely chop some parsley so that we end up with about 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley. But you could definitely use 2 teaspoons of dried parsley if that's all you have. Next, we'll want to chop up 4 cloves of garlic that we can add to our ground turkey. And this will definitely contribute to that delicious classic Italian flavor. Now the best adjective to describe lasagna is definitely cheesy. And so we're going to add 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese and 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese. And I like to buy the blocks of cheese and then grate them myself, because if you buy pre-shredded cheese, it's most likely been coated with cellulose, which keeps the little shreds from sticking together. And I prefer to avoid as many artificial ingredients as I can. So we'll go ahead and set these aside so they're ready to go. And then for our ricotta layer, we're going to start with 1 egg. And then we'll just whisk this in our bowl till it's well blended. And then we're going to add 1 cup of ricotta cheese. And then we want to season this with about 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, as well as 1/2 of our chopped parsley. And we'll go ahead and just mix this together with the spatula. Well, now that we've done all of our prep, we can saute our vegetables and prepare our meat sauce. We'll do a little water test to make sure our stainless steel pan is hot. And we've got some nice beads there. So I'm actually going to turn our heat down just a little bit now. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil to our pan. And then I'm going to add 3 cups of our baby spinach. Give it a dash of salt, 2 dashes of salt. Just stir this around until it cooks down. That rhymes. It's smelling like a fresh garden in here. And spinach is such an easy superfood to add to lasagna because it just kind of blends in with everything else, and the taste is very subtle, so you can hardly tell it's there. All right, now that our spinach is cooked down, I'm going to go ahead and just transfer it to some paper towels so that can help soak up any excess liquid. And I'm going to add a little more olive oil to our pan. And next up is the mushrooms. And then we'll add a couple pinches of salt. Let's give those a stir. Now that our mushrooms are cooked down, we're going to go ahead and dump these out onto our paper towel, again to help absorb any excess moisture from them. And then to prepare for our meat sauce, we're going to add, again, a little more light olive oil. And then we want to add our green onion, dash of salt, give that a quick stir. And these will only take a few seconds to start to turn translucent. And then we can add all of our freshly chopped garlic. Ooh, it's really going to start smelling good in here now. And we'll stir those around. And now we can add 1 pound of our ground turkey. This is going to add delicious protein and flavor to our lasagna. I'm also going to add several dashes of salt, as well as 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning. And we'll get all those flavors mixed together. And then to help speed up our cook time, and go ahead and put a lid on it and just let that sit for several minutes. We'll go ahead and take off the lid. And then I'm just going to go through and kind of flip the turkey over so it can brown on the other side. Now, of course, you could use the same amount of ground beef instead of ground turkey if you prefer. And you could also add a little bit of ground sausage to spice it up a little bit. Put our lid back on and let that cook for another minute or 2. Well, our meat is cooked, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat. And then I'm going to drain the liquid off into my sink. Now that I've drained off the liquid, I'm going to go ahead and transfer the meat to a plate with some paper towel on top, and this will help remove any excess liquid. Now I'm just going to take another paper towel and kind of press down on our mushrooms, as well as our spinach, just to again remove any excess liquid. And then I want to take all of the spinach and just put it onto my cutting board, and I'm going to chop these all a little bit finer so that you don't have any kind of long strands of spinach in the lasagna, because those aren't as fun to bite into. So I'll go ahead and just take our knife and quickly chop these into smaller pieces. So now we can take our chopped spinach and transfer it to a mixing bowl. And then we'll also add all of our chopped and sauteed mushrooms, and we'll add our delicious ground turkey. Now we can add our marinara sauce. Now, of course, you could make your own from scratch, but I think there are so many delicious, healthy options at the store that I vote for the convenience of just using a store-bought one. When I look at the ingredients, there's tomatoes, olive oil, fresh onions, roasted garlic, fresh basil, sea salt, and spices. There's no sugars or corn syrup or anything else added in. So we're going to dump 1.5 cups of marinara sauce into our bowl. And then we'll just go ahead and stir all these together. Okay, we are ready to assemble our lasagna. First, you'll want to spray your pan with non-stick cooking spray, and then pour about 1/4 cup of marinara sauce in the bottom of your pan and spread it around. Then layer your zucchini strips side by side. If they're too long for your pan, you can easily break off the ends to fit. And if they're too short, you could easily piece them together. Now you can pour in half of the meat mixture and spread it in an even layer. Then pour half of the ricotta cheese mixture and spread it around evenly. Next comes 1/3 of the shredded mozzarella and Parmesan cheese. Then you repeat another layer of zucchini, followed by the remainder of your meat sauce. Then spread the rest of the ricotta cheese mixture and another 1/3 of the shredded cheese. Top your lasagna with one last layer of zucchini and sprinkle the remaining fresh parsley and cheese. Well, that is a gorgeous and heavy zucchini lasagna. Now this can go into a 375-degree oven for about 30 minutes or until the cheese on top is bubbly and is starting to turn that golden brown. And if you like your cheese really toasted, you can turn on the broiler for about 2 minutes right at the end. Well, here's our gorgeous lasagna fresh out of the oven, and I ended up cooking it for 35 minutes. And then I did 2 minutes on high broil to get the beautiful crispiness on top. You'll want to let it sit out and cool for probably about 15 minutes before serving it. Now, I'm not patient enough to wait that long, so I have a slice of lasagna that I made up yesterday. And a really beautiful and tasty way to garnish this lasagna is to take several basil leaves and then just roll them up like another little sleeping bag. And then just go and make some very narrow little slices and give it one slice through the middle. And then you have some beautiful little thin strands of basil that you can sprinkle over the top. I'm definitely gonna put a few on my piece of lasagna. So you can see all those beautiful layers of zucchini and meat sauce and ricotta cheese. That is delicioso. I instantly get the fresh Italian flavor from all of the spices, and then I get the warmth of the marinara sauce, and then I bite into that juicy, yummy chicken that is perfectly seasoned with the garlic, and then I get the smooth creaminess from the 3 different cheeses, as well as a little bit of the crunch of the cheese on top. And biting through the soft zucchini tastes just like pasta. It is so emotionally satisfying to be able to eat a delicious lasagna that's not loaded with pasta or gluten, and it's also physically satisfying because it's filled with delicious vegetables, high protein meat, and the high protein cheeses, and it's also low carb with reasonable calories. So I wanted to show you that when you slice into this, there is going to be some juice. But a really simple solution for removing any excess liquid is just to take a good old turkey baster. Give the top a squeeze, poke it in, and then just let it soak up the juice. In my opinion, this is a much simpler solution than having to pre-salt and soak the zucchini in the beginning. And it also means less dishes. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today in my kitchen to make this delicious lasagna. And your kitchen is gonna smell like an Italian restaurant just like mine. And if you'd like to see the recipe card for this video, I've included a link in the video description below, and it's on my website, gentletummy.com. I also invite you to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you know someone who would love to have a low-carb or gluten-free lasagna that is as delicious as the original, please share this video with them. And I cannot wait to have you hang out with me again in my kitchen next time.